Hi guys! Here I am joining in for a virtual devotional. I hope it's not too boring. Okay, first I started off with a poem. I read a poem, so I'm just going to read it. It's called The Funny Scarf. You there, you there. Why is it that you laugh? You scoff at my sash, my smooth ribbon swaying in the wind, my shameful remnants of oil left on the school bus window. You there, why is it that you chuckle, you blush at my curves, my flour-dusted knees after a swim, my shocking tan lines lingering from a summer day? You there, why is it that you scorn? You cringe at my volume, my rattling speakers drumming me home, my laughter hitting decibels that punctuate freedom. You, sir, yes, you, why is it that you shudder, intimidated by my young, my 90th percentile kings, my warriors rising with gallant fervor, rejecting prison walls? You, ma'am, yes, you, why is it that you complain? You portion off my products, my stolen businesses, my mountains of moisture moving like seeds to fertile soil. You, yes, you there. Why do you protest? You protest my month, you protest my history in your books, you protest my picture on your walls. Pardon me, but why does my sash offend you? So a few weeks ago, I approached the coffee bar in the Commons, and I was mesmerized by a beautiful sash worn by one of our amazing volunteers, Bobby. It was this vibrant fabric that I had seen many times over the years and I always treasured. And it's always been this call for me to pause and think of my heritage. It reminds me of thick, steady roots drenched in prayer, oils, and survival, revival. Roots that carry back to a beginning I know not much about. So it's February, and as I like to affectionately call it, it's Black History Month. So this has always been a sacred time for my family. As a little girl, we would go to special events in February. We would have community classes at church to learn about our history. I was even in this children's choir where we toured to different churches dressed in attire that the Black slaves would have worn, singing spirituals, songs like, and please sing along if you know it, we would sing, "Follow the drinking gourd, follow the drinking gourd, for the old man is waiting for to carry you to freedom if you follow the drinking gourd." Or we'd sing like, "Go down, Moses, way down in Egypt land, tell old Pharaoh, let my people go." You may know this one. "Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home." Oh, but one of my favorites to just belt out was, "Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring, ring with the harmonies of liberty." We all know that one, right? Right? Wait, what? We don't all know the Black National Anthem? So, y'all, as I have gotten older, I have realized that our special month and this song that I loved was not special to everyone else. And it wasn't until recently that I realized that our history had to be contained to a month because it was too risky to place it in the same textbooks that we read all year. So sometimes I can be overwhelmed by the amount of things that I don't know about Black history. Last year, I purchased this shirt right here, and it has a list of names of Black historical figures. A few of them I knew about, but then a couple I had never heard about. And I realized, wow, I can name a ton of presidents besides Obama, and I can name inventors and all sorts of figures throughout history who look nothing like me because I was all year long taught about them, tested on them, sung about this heritage and history that tried to erase mine. So for years, I sort of compartmentalized it as my blackness here and the rest of me over here until now, when I've been trying to dig into some root causes of why I've struggled with self-worth. Why is it that I was raised in a family of beautiful, strong, intelligent African Americans who spent just lots of time together and lifted each other up. I was raised by a father who spoiled me and called me beautiful, his princess. He still does and still brings me to this day Valentine's every single year, but still I struggled to feel valuable, worthy, attractive. And it's just like Jesus, as we start to open up these sore spots in our lives, he sent a sweet little message, and this time it was through our dear friend Jamie. Hi Jamie. Jamie recommended this book called What Happened to You? A conversation on trauma, resilience, and healing by Oprah Winfrey and Bruce D. Perry. So if you're not already reading it, I highly, highly recommend you give it a read. And heads up, heard from a friend, not going to mention any names, they might be in this circle, that you probably want to have some tissues on hand. It's a little bit of a sob fest at times. But one of the heavy topics that is addressed in this book is the topic of generational trauma that is passed down. And it talks about the ripple effects of slavery throughout history and how it has shaped our systems, our policies, our goals as a country, and yes, even how we perceive a funny little scarf that looks something like something from Africa that someone wears at the coffee shop in the Commons. What happens to us as we develop often steers how we move through the rest of our lives. And this framework has helped me to piece together more things as I work towards my own healing. So I see so many parts of my stories now that were easy to translate into the narrative of you're ugly, you're stupid, you don't belong, you'll never succeed. And a big part of that was that I didn't spend my days as a young child surrounded by a diverse group of folks. I was the minority, often the only one in the room for 5 days a week, 6 hours every day. And I didn't learn about heroes that looked like me, inventors, generals that I saw reflected in who I was for the 11 months of the year. And 12 months at school, I didn't have other folks being taught about that looked like me. And what I was learning at times in these classrooms during Black History Month was excruciatingly painful, discouraging, and sometimes embarrassing. And it has taken so much work to repair and rebuild the messages that I got as a kid. And I still have so much work to do and so far to go. I have history to research and learn, forgiveness that I have to walk through. And it's going to be a lifelong journey, I'm pretty sure. But the beauty in all of this, you guys, is that when I accepted Jesus as my King, I was given a heritage that cannot be edited out of my story because it is a history that is etched in eternity. It's pleasant, it's beautiful, and it calls me just as valuable as every other beloved child of God. Just as beautiful and fully human as everybody on the magazines, just as included as the big full aisle of hair products that you get to choose from. It says that I am equal and loved just as much by my Father, so much so that I get the same inheritance. I love how David says it in Psalm 16. He says, verse 5, Lord, you alone are my portion and my cup. You make my lot secure. The boundary lines have fallen for me in pleasant places. Surely I have a delightful inheritance. Y'all, this is just my story. I know all of us have pieces of our story that we edit out and we deem unworthy of the books, heavily filter it before we share it. And we are reaching out to a broken world filled with all sorts of generational trauma. And still, we have the choice to show up day by day to get to know each other's stories. We can give validation and permission to each other to just be who God has created us to be. This place here has already been a place of healing for me. This has been a place where people who are different coach teams together and have conversations about what culture likes what soda. This is a place where people gather and cook cuisines from all around the world, where friends take the time to find the stockings that have the black Santa on it, where family ask each other for hip hop, country, and even heavy metal recommendations. Thanks, Doug. And where we learn the joy of a voicemail from an Asian mom who is calling you out on the fact that you are screening her phone calls. Where one day we will all maybe know the meaning of and even possibly own a do-rag. So what is happening here in our family? It is a reflection of God's love. Thank you. Thank every one of you for lifting me up. Thank you for being in relationship with Jesus and with each other, because the healing that is happening here in our staff culture is overflowing into our community. And how cool is it that we get to watch the Lord work through us to help broken people continue to heal generational hurts. So Bobby presented me with this box a couple of weeks after I complimented her on her scarf in the Commons. And I was so excited because I kind of had an idea of what it was. And I opened it up and I pulled out, the most beautiful Ghana fabric sash that she wears over like this. And I have now my very own, and I feel so special. And it was interesting because as I twirled in glee and excitement, because this just meant so much to me to have this gift from my Nigerian friend, I saw a seed was planted in those who didn't understand what was happening. And they laughed and said, well, what is that? And I just thought, man, that's what we're in the ministry of. We are planting those seeds of love, those seeds that we're talking about, and clothing ourselves in Colossians 3:14, that it will lead us to perfect harmony, those seeds that will move mountains that are dividing us. And step by step, we are choosing to say yes to having things on earth be a reflection of heaven. And I am so honored to be a part of that here with you guys. And I hope you feel encouraged that you are rocking it. Love you.